What is up, guys? We are finally back. I know it's been forever. It seems like it's been a couple weeks. Have been playing quite a bit actually, but just enjoying playing. I put the camera down for a little bit just to focus on my game and kind of get my joy for the game up and running again. And it is busy work, vlogging and playing and editing videos, and there's a lot that goes into it. I was also out of town for a little bit over a week, so obviously did not play much poker there. Came back yesterday or 2 days ago from my trip. There's a $400 buy-in tournament with $1 million guaranteed prize pool in Tampa Hard Rock happening right now. Fired one bullet into that and made the top 10% of the field that day. So there was a bunch of flights left, but I played that Wednesday yesterday, and day 2 is on Sunday. So I'm in the money. Have like 20 big blinds when I come back, so I'm pretty pumped about that. But obviously the downfall, they do not let me record in Tampa. But we're here at the usual spot today. I want to get back to some vlogging, a regular schedule of uploading some content for you guys, just because I've had so much, again, support on this channel, and I truly appreciate you guys and want to keep it going. We're going to definitely play some 2-5. I won't waste any more of your time. Let's go in here. Let's get to it. Get right into it. We sit down at the 2-5 table and we look down at pocket tens. We're under the gun and we raise it up to $20. And this seems like it's going to be a little action because we get 3 callers. So going 4 ways to a flop, our very first hand with pocket tens. And the flop comes 2-5-2. So really, honestly, pretty good flop for pocket tens, I would say. Being so multi-way, I'm not too scared of this. These guys called a $20 raise pre-flop, so I don't think they're going to have many 2s in their range. Maybe pocket 5s or something like that, but can't be scared of that. I'm going to bet while I think I am most likely still ahead. So I lead out for $35, or continue I should say, and get 2 callers. And the turn brings a 4 of diamonds. I'm a little weirded out by the fact that both players called here on this really dry board. And the 4 of diamond comes, but I can't be scared, I guess. I have to keep betting for value, I would think. Unless I'm just getting, I don't know, slow played by jacks or higher. But anyways, I continue on for $105, trying to really target flush draws, or, you know, the board's getting a little straight. But either way, I think I'm going to be ahead most of the time, and there are definitely some hands that I can get value from, including 5x holdings for sure. So yeah, going to keep betting. And to my surprise, both players pretty quickly make the call again. So I'm definitely worried at this point. I'm not sure if I'm even ahead anymore. And the river comes the 6 of diamonds. So flush draw gets there, but it's runner flush draw. I don't know, man. This has been a very weird hand. I'm definitely not going to be betting anymore. The first opponent checks, and then I go ahead and check. And the last opponent pretty quickly, like pretty much snap bets out $200. The next guy doesn't think very long, and he calls? And I'm just baffled, like, what do these guys have at this point? I don't know, I have to call $200 to win potentially $900 at this point. And I haven't played in a couple weeks. This should be a fold, probably 9.9 out of 10 times. But I'm confused. When I'm confused, I tend to just call. And that is what I decide to do. I say, whatever, man, I call, and I go to count out my chips, and I immediately just flip over my pocket tens because I don't care at this point. And he says, quads, and then flips over pocket 2s. And me and the other guy both look at each other. He mucks. We never know what he had, but congrats on the quads. Got max value and the high hand money. Way to go, buddy. So getting right into another massive pot here. I started recording this one late because it's a bomb pot, and I don't start recording these right away unless I see some major action happening, but it just so happens some action is happening on this one. So $10 bomb pot. In case anyone hasn't watched these before, everyone at the table throws in $10. You get 4 cards and you go to 2 boards and you play it out from there. So in this hand, I have ace, ace, king 9, and the flop comes Ace Queen 5 and King 9 6, both rainbow boards. And that little black button there at the top of the screen is actually the bomb pot button that we're using. So I'm second to act, and I bet out for $50. Guy to my left calls, another guy that you can't see out of the frame to the left calls, and then it's back over on the button here, who seems to be weighing out his options and shuffling his chips and plotting on something here, but I'm not sure what it is. But either way, if I'm not going to get money in with this hand, by God, you might as well not even sit down at the poker table. So yeah, dude, if you want to put more money in, I'm happy to get it in behind you. Let's get all the money in right now. And to my pleasant surprise, that is exactly what was on his mind. He pulls out $320 and basically repots it. And the guy, as you saw to my right, folds. And I'm sitting here debating on just jamming now while I'm most likely ahead of everybody, or just calling and trying to bring people in. And when I look at the board, there's not really too much I'm worried about getting outdrawn on. The boards are pretty dry. I mean, I guess it's somewhat straight out there, but I don't know. I'm not too concerned right now, and I would prefer to keep more people in. That way, if it comes down to a chop, you are chopping more money just with one guy. So I put in the flat call to $350. The opponent directly to my left does not take long before he also comes along with a call. Back down at the people on the end on the left there at a frame, and they fold. So going three ways to a turn card, and the turn brings the 8 and 2, which compels me, of course, to say, I'm all in.
All in.
So I have both of them covered. I just ship it all in while I'm most likely ahead on maybe both boards potentially, but you never know in this thing. But either way, I'm all in. I'm ready to get all the money in right now. Second hand, I've been here for like 15 minutes. Why not? And my opponent to the left goes deep in the tank. And he thinks it over for quite a long time, to the point I have to cut a big chunk of this clip out. But eventually he does decide on a call after counting out how much he has left, which was like a little over 300 something dollars. I want to say close to 400 bucks. And then as soon as he calls, the opponent right across from me shuffling his chips in the frame, not looking intimidated for one single second, he throws in the smooth one chip call without thinking it over for more than a second, like I said. And then we are off to 2 river cards. And the river doesn't look too scary with the 7 of diamonds up top. Unfortunately, the 6 of spades on the bottom, not the board pairing card we were looking for. But I take the top board once I flip over my cards. And my opponent, unfortunately, over to my right has pocket kings. So we both chop, and the man to our left takes nothing but a sad story. Moving on to the next hand for him. Sorry, buddy, but we will be taking this one down. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta go there.
This hand, there is a straddle on the button. I'm in the big blind, second act, and I look down at pocket eights. So we raise this up to $30, and it folds all the way around to the straddle on the button, who comes along with a call. So heads up to a flop, which is 5, 8, 9 rainbow. So boom, we hit middle set. I go for a sneaky range check here and check over to him. But he unfortunately checks back to a turn card, which is the 3 of spades. So obviously I'm going to have to be doing all the betting here. I'm not going to check this over to him, especially with the board being so straight. And a flush draw on there. So I bet out for a modest $30. And he doesn't think about it for too long before throwing in the call off to a river. And the last card comes the King of Hearts. So I don't know. I don't know what he can really call me now with, but I'm definitely not going to check this over. I have to go for a bet, and I might as well make it big, try to make it look like I might be bluffing here. You never know. So I decide on a bet of $80, and before I can even get my chips there, he folds. So pretty uneventful hand, but we take a little pot. The straddle is on once again on the button. I'm in small blind first to act, so I raise it up to $30, and I end up getting like a million callers. I think 4 people called me here. I don't know, we're 4 or 5 ways to a flop. Either way, not great with pocket queens, but off to a flop nonetheless, which comes 8, 9, 4 with 2 hearts. Not very ideal for a bunch of raise call hands, especially being so multi-way here. But nonetheless, I think there are worse hands I can definitely get value from. But I'm going to lead out, and I'm going to lead out big. I bet $75, expecting hopefully a couple folds here. I wish I had a heart in my hand, but of course, as you can see, I do not. Person next to act calls, which is a pretty strong move. So does one other person, and everybody else folds. And the turn comes the 10 of hearts. Definitely not going to be leading out anymore. So I double check, make sure I don't have a heart in my hand. And no surprise, I don't. So I decide to check it. And the person next to act bets out 150 with one more person to act behind him. He folds, and I pretty quickly make the fold as well. Sometimes the run out just is not ideal, especially going so multi-way. So we lose this one. This hand here, it folds all the way around to the button, who's kind of a battling type of player. And I know he's been getting after it all night. He's a good player. And when it folds to him, he raises it up to $15. I'm in the small blind next to act, and I go to test him a little bit. So we decide to 3-bet this 5-6 offsuit premium hand to $45, and he does come along with a call. And I'm absolutely shocked when we totally missed this flop. Can't believe we didn't crush it with Queen 4-9 Rainbow. But nonetheless, this is a decent flop for my range. I could have plenty of queens here, obviously. So I'm going to continue on for $50, put some pressure on him still, and he quickly lets it go. So mixing up our 3-betting range a little bit. I don't recommend this with 5-6 offsuit, but we take the pot. A few hands later, we look down at a real hand. When we look down at pocket kings, I am under the gun. First act, I raise it up to $20. One player calls, and then the big blind comes along with a call as well. The flop comes 8-5-7. Has not failed me at all today with these damn low connected boards when I have a premium overpair. But I do a range check. I check, and then it checks around luckily. And the turn brings some better news. It comes the king of spades. Let's go. We hit top set, and it checks to me. And obviously, I'm going to be betting some here now. Not really too concerned about a flush draw. So I bet out $35. Next act folds, and it's back over on the player from the previous hand. Like I said, the battling player. He's a non-believer. He puts in the call and off to a river, which is even better because it pairs the board with the 8 of clubs, giving us top full house. Only thing that beats us is quads at this point. So we're feeling good. He checks once again, and I'm hoping that he has some kind of hand, but I'm thinking he doesn't, like he's just trying to get to showdown. I put out not too big of a bet with $75, trying to give him a good price, but it also maybe could look a little bluffy. So I don't know. And he looks at me and he says, I have a bluff catcher, and ends up putting in his chips for the call. And I look at him and nod and say, yeah, buddy, I have a pretty good hand, and flip over my pocket king so he doesn't have to show. He says, nice hand, and we take this one. Just a few short hands later, there's a lot of action, and I look down at pocket aces. There's a straddle on the button. The small blind raises to 30. 2 players make a call, and then it's back over on me. What do I do here with pocket aces? Obviously, I'm not going 5 ways here and flat calling. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and bump this up to a respectful $150. The straddle folds right away. It's back over on the small blind, the original raiser. He thinks for a moment, and he decides to ultimately fold. And then it's back on the big blind, who also called. And he looks like he is in the tank, like he's going to do something he might regret. Looking like he does not care too much for the money he has sitting in front of him at this moment. And as time goes on, he comes to his decision where he decides to throw his remaining $400, like almost exactly in the middle. He goes all in. What a dream spot. And at this point, I'm kind of hoping for the guy to my right to either call or go all in himself. But it does not come to that. He thinks it over for just a minute and then lets his cards go. And I obviously say, I call him in. And we decide we're going to run it once. He sees my aces, and he has the face of someone who looks like they're trying to make a move. He says, yep, you're way ahead. Kind of what I figured with pocket aces, but Feels nice to hear it as well. So we just need a clean run out. The flop comes 6 of hearts, 9 of clubs, 6 of hearts. I hit a full house on the turn with the ace of clubs. Definitely locking this up, and the river is the queen of hearts. And to no surprise here, we take this one. Feels good to catch somebody trying to make a move. Probably didn't realize how strong I was, and I can't really blame him. I've been pretty active, and he knows I'm definitely mixing it up here with some of my 3-betting and squeezes. But unfortunately on this one, buddy, he just ran into it. So we take this down, and it feels good. So I actually go card dead after those pocket aces for quite a while, and I lose a bunch of small pots. I was well over 2,000 and ended up losing even some decent sized bomb pots, and I'm back down to around 1,700 bucks now. So definitely been a swingy session. I look down at pocket fours. It's one of my favorite hands. Favorite number is 44. For some reason, I just tend to bink sets with pocket fours. I don't understand it. But anyway, the straddle is on. I raise it up to $40, first act, out of position in the small blind. And we end up getting 3 callers and go 4 ways to a flop, which, no surprise, comes 4-5 king. We hit a set once again with the pocket fours. I could always be continuing on this board for a small amount, but being so multi-way, I'd like to give somebody a chance to bet at this and go for the old school check raise. But it checks all the way through, unfortunately. And the turn comes the 8 of diamonds. So it's clear that I'm going to have to be doing the betting once again. Seems to be a recurring theme here at this table. So I put out a bet of $80, half pot, trying to charge flush draws, any king X holdings, maybe an 8X holding that's a non-believer. But either way, it's time to start getting some money in here. I'm thinking multi-way, somebody's got to have something on here. So yeah, $80, and then everyone folds pretty quickly. Hitting bottom set and getting not paid $1 feels bad, man. We get dealt another premium here. There's a straddle in the button to $10. A couple people limp before, and I wake up in the cutoff with ace-king. So obviously I'm going to make a play. I raise it up to $50, and then only the straddler in the button makes a call. He's a pretty active guy, has been playing a lot of pots, can definitely get out of line to some extent. But heads up to a flop, which is king deuce 4 rainbow. So great flop for ace king, obviously. Doesn't get much better. And I'm going to continue for a small amount like I would with my entire range, just for $30. And he snap raises me to 125 bucks. And I've seen him do this a couple times already with top pair. He likes to get in there, just charge, I don't know, whatever his strategy is behind it, but he likes to raise when he has top pair. And I could obviously put in a re-raise here, but you always just want to be cautious in case you're running into a complete monster with a set. Rare, but it could happen, and I would like for him to keep blasting away if he does have top pair, and I have obviously the best kicker that I can have. So I just put in the flat call and then to a turn card, which is the 5 of spades, and the action quickly goes check, check. So I checked and he checked back, and the river is the 9 of hearts. So obviously I think I'm definitely going to be ahead here almost all the time. If he had a set, I think he would have been continuing on the turn there. So now it's my turn to charge him some money, and I ultimately decide on a bet of $225. Obviously just trying to charge any king that he has with a weaker kicker. That's exactly what I put him on here, and I don't want to overcharge it, make it look like I'm too strong. So I think $225 is a pretty decent sizing. Could maybe even go a tiny bit bigger to make it look a little bit more bluffy. But I think if he has a king, he just can't get away from calling on this river bet. And he thinks about it for quite a while, and I'm hoping for a call. And then he puts out a raise, to my surprise, of $500 total. And I am just confused, man. Really confused. Like I said, I think he would have been betting with a set on the turn more. I don't know. He has a king. The only thing I can think of, king 9. I tell him, do you just have king 9, man? Hopefully you could hear that there in the recording. And I just don't think he's ever bluffing here. Like, what bluffs could he have here? The only hand that makes sense is king 9. It's a small raise on the river. So I let it go. And he looks at me and nods his head and says, you made a good fold. And he does, in fact, show me king 9. So somehow managed to sniff that one out. But yeah, this actually ends up being our last hand that I got to record. I'm not gonna lie, guys, my recording skills are a little bit rusty. I got a lot of hands here, obviously, and then it just got to a certain point where I was like, man, I feel like I have a lot of content, and I stopped paying as much attention to recording, and end up battling, winning some good hands, losing some pretty unfortunate hands, and then end up calling it a session. I'd say like 2 hours after this hand here, and calling it a day. All right, guys, sorry for the low quality lighting on the outro here, but it is 13 after midnight. Played just over 7 hours. When I got there, I had to wait forever to get to a table, so been a long day. Woke up really early, didn't sleep that great last night. Whatever, complaining all that aside. Was in for 1500, out for 938 on this session, so obviously not the result that we're looking for, but nonetheless, playing a lot more of these PLO double board bomb pots. I'm still not thrilled with them, but I have been on the good end of these, and I've been quite profitable doing them. But when you're not, obviously you're gonna have a lot more swings than you would just playing a good steady Texas Hold'em game. But nonetheless, I'm happy to get another vlog video out for you guys. It's been way too long. I apologize. We will get back to a more normal schedule here, and I will be talking to you guys very soon. See you on the next one.